joining us today. Please raise your hands if you have questions for Coach. Let's kick things off with Jeff Magliochetti.
Thank you, Alicia. Coach, congratulations on the win. And, you talked about how important the rebounding was and how that had to improve. Besides the change in numbers, how do you think the rebounding most improved from Friday to today? And do you think it allowed observers to see how much your defense has improved?
Yeah, I mean, we held them to 32%, and that's a team that's very capable of scoring, especially with their ability to pound it into the paint. I think Kelsey Mitchell was 6 of 18. She's one of the best players in the league. So I think the overall defensive execution was absolutely phenomenal. They had one offensive rebound at half. I think they ended with 9. I just can't say enough about the grit of this team and their ability to apply the things that we talked about, in a walkthrough yesterday, not even a regular practice. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to be a part of.
Speaking of pretty fun to be a part of, feels like you've been waiting a year plus. It has been a year plus, but it feels like so much longer that you've been waiting to have Rebecca Allen play in your system. She seems to fit all the tenets that you have for this system. So how did it feel to have her working with you for the first time today?
Yeah, we were talking about it actually at practice yesterday. It was so odd to see her warming up, moving around, being a part of it, because it's to your point, something we've thought about and talked about for so long. And so to actually have her there, it's going to be one of my challenges, as you guys see, is finding playing time. And this is without Jocelyn. This is without Nay Odom. This is without Kia Stokes. This is without Natasha Howard. So, this team is so deep and so versatile that, playing time is really going to be a challenging thing. And so it's going to come down to, riding hot hands, matchups that we like. There's going to be different ways that we can manipulate this team to create different effects, hopefully. And so, but long and short is having Beck, even a Beck who doesn't really know the offensive or defensive system yet, because she shouldn't. How could she? It was really fun. It was really fun to see her out there. And you can absolutely see, even early on, the effect that she'll have on this team.
Appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Doug Feinberg.
Hey, Coach, I know it's early in the season, obviously, but does it mean anything that you've already equaled last year's win total in your first 2 games, and that obviously things are going the right direction, so to speak?
Yeah, it does, Doug. It does mean something. Going a whole season to get 2 wins versus coming out the gate the way that they did. And it's one of the things that I told this team, how far the sophomores have come, how much these new additions have helped, really kind of establish the grit and toughness of this team. And, to do it on a night where we didn't, shoot the percentage that we're probably capable of, it was still solid. 36 from 3 is still solid, but, I thought we settled at times. I thought, we kind of got away from ourselves in that second quarter there, and we're still generating good shots. We weren't making them. And so in those instances, we've really got to do a better job of attacking the paint and getting the 2 feet. I think we drew 5 offensive fouls, and 2 or 3 of them ended up kicked out for a made 3. And so, those are killers. Those are backbreakers. But the long and short, to have 2 wins and to come in and, on a back-to-back and for them to make the adjustments and to be able to steal one on the road, it says a lot about them. It really does. And I think, now it's about continuing to build. Obviously, we're not going to rest on our laurels after 2 wins to start the season. So we've got a lot of work to do. We can see it. We saw the potential in the 31-point first quarter. And then, we saw the places where we need to grow pretty much throughout the rest of the game. So I think you have some real excitement from what we did in that first quarter, and then it's tempered, and it kind of reminds us, hey, we got a long way to go. We got a lot to do here.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Sarah Valenzuela.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on win number 2. Going into the half, what was some of the things you were talking about with the team, just to go over what was going on with the cold streak in the last 7-ish minutes of that second quarter?
I think the primary thing for them to remember was how good the defense still was. It was our offense that really, we just went cold. And we started to turn the ball over a little bit. Sab really struggled with turnovers. B struggled with turnovers tonight. And that really was what made this game closer than we thought it should have been. Because what they did defensively, they did enough for this to be a wider gap at the end of the game. So what we talked about at halftime was focused on, hey, don't change a thing with our defense. We held them to one offensive rebound. They were working their butts off, and they were really taking away a lot of what Indiana does well. I was really impressed with that, and seeing the versatility of these players, on ball, off ball, the way that they talk, and the fact that they're just going to keep going up. It's really exciting what this team's going to be capable of. So we talked about that, and then we talked about understanding how to take a punch. It's one thing to come out and punch first, and the team didn't fold. These are pro basketball players. These are a lot of veterans on this Indiana team that aren't going to just fall down because you scored 31. They fought their way back into the game, and they punched back really hard, and they cut it to 6, I think, at half. So for us, it's learning how to play from behind, learning how to play with a lead. Learning how to close a game, learning how to start a game, how to start and end quarters. I mean, all of these things, they just take the experience together. And so the fact that we were able to get an early lead, they punched, and then we were able to hold on to it throughout the game. That, again, it says a lot about the grit.
Thank you.
Ari Chambers.
Hey, Coach. I know it's early, super early, but you mentioned grit, fun, and I know the chemistry is up and people are stepping up. I want to know who you're most impressed with so far, and who stepped up in a real way that we shouldn't be sleeping on.
I think the box scores don't say it, but I think Sammy Whitcomb has been invaluable. She's been invaluable. The things she says to the team, it's one thing for the coaches. For Shelly and I, we have that championship experience with Minnesota. It's another thing for a player who just won, a championship and 2 championships, to talk about, what it needs to look like on a daily basis, to talk about, hey, we're up more right now going into the fourth quarter than we were at half. I think we were up 7, and everybody felt so deflated because we were only up 7. The perspective she gives the team is invaluable. And then, she had 2 blocks. She was tied for our leading rebounder at half with 5. She does so many little things that don't show up in the box score, and you can't have a winning team. You can't have a winning culture without players like Sammy. And she's going to have her games. She's going to have her games where she hits 7 threes and she scores in the 20s. And, she really shows out in that way. But the way that she's leading both by example and vocally, I'd say Sammy to this point has probably been the most unsung hero.
Thank you. Great perspective.
Jackie Powell.
Hey, Coach, great win, very gritty compared to sort of what we saw on Friday. I want to know what you thought the team did to adjust to Tiara McCowan and sort of what got her so frustrated, because we couldn't see it on the broadcast, but she got ejected. So can you just take us through what you saw?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I didn't hear, what she said or what happened. But one of the main adjustments we made was just trying not to let her get as deep on her catches. We were really kind of caught in between playing behind and creating contact early and trying to get in front and deny catches in the first game, and it burned us. And so we decided to commit, to one and not both. And I thought Kylie did just a tremendous job. For her, the thing to understand with a big, when you're dealing with someone like Tiara McCowan or Liz Cambage, oftentimes the bigs don't get a lot of rebounds in those games, the people defending the bigs, because they're so busy boxing out and doing everything they can to keep, these elite rebounders off of the boards, that usually they don't get a lot. And that's why Kylie had 3 rebounds the other game. And, it didn't do justice, to how hard she was working. Tonight she had 7. And that was in spite of the fact that she was still doing all the fighting. But I just thought she did a much better job of keeping herself in position. She slipped a few times, went back to kind of standing up and falling asleep. But I was really proud of Kylie tonight.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Erica Ayala.
Thank you. Jackie asked about Tiara. I think throughout the game, that was obviously something that we noticed on defense. But another matchup specifically that I wanted to pick your brain on was, I believe at one point you saw Beck Allen on Lindsay Allen. And I'm just wondering about that matchup and specifically what you're hoping to get from Rebecca Allen defensively this year.
I think the versatility. So one of our adjustments for this game was to try to keep Jazz, Didi, or Benijah on Kelsey at all times if possible. I think as good as our other defenders are, those three have already started to, step their way into the top in terms of our perimeter defenders. So what that meant was we had to find matchups elsewhere. And we thought that Beck, with her length and her smarts, was going to be able to mitigate Lindsay's quickness. And I don't know, how much of an advantage it really is, because Beck is a very, very good athlete. She's an underrated athlete. So we knew she could use her length. We knew she'd be smart. And I think that you're going to see her all over the court. You'll see her guard some bigs. You'll see her guard point guards like tonight. You'll see her guard everything in between. So that's one of the reasons why we missed her so much last year. And we're so happy to have her now.
Also, Coach, you've alluded to this, but being able to start strong is something that you want to do, and to finish strong. We talked about that even last season. Other than Sammy Whitcomb's voice, what ways are you and the coaching staff hoping to build and provide the building blocks needed for such a young team to learn what they need to do within themselves to be able to close out a game regardless of opponent?
It's a great question. I can tell you that one of the main things is that we have the time to teach now, and we have the time to really establish what we want and need and make adjustments and rep things. And we just didn't have it last year, and we sorely needed it with a young team. So one way that you can create that consistency that you're talking about with a group that doesn't just have it via experience is to give them some really solid structure as to what they need to do every single possession on both ends of the floor. And once they have those basics, once they have that basic structure on either end, they can handle variability. They can handle things that they didn't expect. They can handle runs by the other team or being up or being down, because they know, hey, we just have to do us. We just have to execute what we need to execute. It doesn't matter what they do. The pieces are in place for our team to start to understand, hey, we know how we want to guard a flare screen. We know how we want to guard pick and roll with a shooter and a popping big, And so it's just a matter now of getting that experience every single day and players learning one another, and our defense really being on a string. And I think that's how that consistency will come, where they can really trust themselves and trust the system, because they'll know each other and they'll know the system so well that it can kind of run on autopilot, in the same way that you see, those old Minnesota teams, the Seattle teams, Washington, they really, Connecticut, they stuck together for so long, and they knew what was expected. And that was why the consistency and the wins really happened for them.
Last question, Pepper Pursley.
Hi, Coach. It's great to talk with you. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
So, Didi has played major minutes in back-to-back games in the fourth quarter. Can you just talk about her impact on this team in the past 2 games?
Didi's defense and her energy, boy, she just makes something happen. I literally told her, Didi, go make something happen. And she went and made something happen. She just kind of wills her way into making plays. It's remarkable. And again, that's a player who we're seeing her grow and have to learn a new system, have to get back healthy, after the hamstring. And she had very limited reps in training camp. So the potential there is really exciting. And I think Didi's energy, her positivity, her unselfishness, her willingness to do just the dirty work, to dive on a loose ball, to guard any position, to get through every screen. She's a really exciting player, you guys. She was a steal for us, and she's going to need to grow offensively outside of her playmaking ability, to where she gets really consistent and understands how she can impact the game, even if she's not shooting the 3 yet or, hitting pull-up jumpers quite at the clip that she's probably capable of or will be in the future. That's going to be her main challenge, but boy, do we love her energy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Next up, we're going to have Michaela Onyenwere. Second, as we let her get into the room.
Hi.
First question, Miles Early.
Hey, Michaela, great game today. Your team defense really stepped up, holding a really big Indiana team to just 32.5% shooting. And you had your hands full with Jontel Lavender for a lot of that matchup. Even though you guys went through a stretch of 10 minutes without making a field goal, you still finished as a team at 40% and you never relinquished that early lead. Could you talk a little bit about that consistency on the defensive end, even when you guys are struggling to see the ball go through the basket?
Yeah, I think that's just our identity. From day one, Coach Walt always just preached to us that defense is definitely going to be our identity for the year, that they're going to feel us. And so we know that we're not going to have the shooting nights that we did, like we did opening night. That's okay because our defense is something that we can rely on and fall back on. And so just really proud of my team, just kind of weathering through the shooting kind of drought that we had and still being able to, get stops on the defensive end. And like you said, hold them to a 32% field goal percentage for the game.
Great, thank you. And I want to ask you about one of your teammates. Jazz Jones was a team best plus 12 today, and she was really battling out there, diving after loose balls, making big shots. After she had such a frustrating first game, what was your impression of her game today, and just how impactful is her energy for the entire team?
Yeah, even with the frustrating game on opening night, I still am in her ear, just telling her, we believe in her, and shots are going to fall. And, just because shots aren't falling, that doesn't mean that you're not valuable to the team. And you just see just how hard and just the hustle that she has every single possession. And we put her on, we have great defenders. We put her on Kelsey Mitchell, Tiffany Mitchell, and she's able to get stops and hold Kelsey Mitchell to 6 for whatever that she had. And Kelsey Mitchell's a great offensive player. And so to have players like that, especially Jazz, who, puts her heart on the line on the defensive end is so important. And whether shots fall or not, she's still so valuable to the team. And I'm just so lucky to be able to play with somebody who's like that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Danny Thompson.
Michaela, Danny Thompson with the 3-point conversion. Great win, by the way. I spoke with you on draft night, and you had mentioned that there's some new changes to your game. 2 games in, we've seen the offensive growth from you. Was that the thing you were discussing that people don't know about you? Because everybody knows about your defense, but the first couple of games you've shown a bigger prone for offense. Was this what you were talking about on draft night?
I just really believe that I'm pretty versatile, and just being able to hit the 3 and have the confidence of my teammates and my coaches to be able to, get me those 3s is really important as well. And I'm just always really looking forward to add to my toolbox. Obviously I did what I had to do in college, but just this is a new level. And so I knew I was going to have to get better and just kind of expand my game. And it's coming to fruition a little bit now. Obviously we're only two games in, but just super, super excited to be here. Super excited to, just be able to compete every single game with this group of people.
Karina Mustafa.
Hi, Michaela. Karina with Venus Sports and Net Republic. So getting to start these past 2 games and having great performances in both, what does that do for your confidence?
I think it does everything, coming in, I was a little bit nervous, but I have ways to calm myself down so I'm not as nervous. And when I'm like that, I'm able to just, go out and play. And I think that's when I operate the best, is when I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on myself, just going out and playing, being aggressive, helping my team on the defensive end. And so, yeah, it's definitely a confidence booster that my team and my coaches believe in me in that way. But I'm just excited to do whatever my coaches need, whether I was starting or not, whether I'm not playing a lot or whether I am. I'm just really, really excited to do whatever I need for my team and my coaches.
Thank you. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Cheryl Coward.
Hi, Michaela. Cheryl Coward from Hoop Feed. You've been in double digits in the first 2 games of the season. You're now averaging 14.5 points per game and 5 rebounds per contest. Is this how you envisioned your start in the league? And what has been the key to your confidence in these 2 games?
To answer your first question, I kind of was just I'm happy to be here, super happy to be in New York. It's a blessing and an honor to get, drafted in general, but obviously just to the city and what we're building here is really, really cool for me. And so I wouldn't say I came here and I was this is exactly what I'm going to do, but I've just put in a lot of work. I have a lot of people beside me who really support me and believe in me, and I'm just great teammates. And so it has come to fruition, like I said. But no, I wouldn't say this is what I envisioned for myself. And as far as just confidence, it's easy to have confidence in yourself when you have just so many people who believe in you, who are in my ear, who just speak life into me. And so I'm really grateful to be in an organization that is like that.
Jackie Powell.
Hey, Michaela, congratulations on the second win. I've got 2 questions for you, if that's all right. So this second game was another Commissioner's Cup game, this is sort of a new thing in the league. And so what I wanted to ask you is, how do you think this new format, attaching extra weight to these games, how does that, add to the excitement around the league and create rivalries and maybe even extra motivation for you guys? Because there's that $500,000 pot involved.
To be completely honest, I don't really know much about the Commissioner's Cup, to be honest, so I can't speak on that. It's like I've heard about it, but I don't really know what it's about. Sorry.
That's fair, no worries. And so I wanted to ask you about, your teammate and your high school friend, Kylie Shook, and sort of the adjustments she made in helping to, keep Tiara McCowan in check. Both she and Rashonda Gray they did quite a job this afternoon.
Yeah, they did. They're huge for us. Obviously, Big T is not somebody we take lightly. She's a great offensive player. She's a great offensive rebounder. And we saw what she could do in the first game, even with good defense and great defense that we had all around. And so just to see that turnaround where I think she finished with like 6 points maybe, was really great. And obviously credit to Rashonda and Kylie, who have to battle with her every single game. And so really, really proud of them for stepping up and taking it to heart that they had 50 points in the paint last game, and they ended up with like 28 this game. And so really taking that to heart was really important for us. And I think that starts and ends with defense on Tiara McCowan. So really, really shout out and credit to Rashonda and Kylie.
Thanks so much, Michaela. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jeff Magliochetti.
Michaela, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on another win. You obviously would never take this approach, but it almost would have been easy to get lost in the crowd with all the sophomores coming back, all the excitement around the new additions as well. Yet you're contributing to a team, double figures, setting a team record for most points in your first game. You're contributing to this 2-0 start and becoming an active participant in it. How does that make you feel to bounce off? I think Karina asked you before about the confidence factor, and how does that make you feel to know that I'm not saying it's there just quite yet, but to put the V in that type of MVP effort be valuable out there?
It obviously feels great. Whether I was on the bench, whether I was starting, whether I'm playing a lot of minutes, whether I'm not, I'm just so happy to be here. And so whatever my role would have been, obviously this is really nice to be starting and, being and contributing to my team, but whatever my role would have been, I would have just been extremely happy. And so I can't express how grateful I am just to be here and just to be with this organization and have these coaches and have these teammates. And so regardless of where I am, I would have been the same, but obviously just really, really cool to be in this position, be able to start and help my team in any way I can.
From a player's perspective, could you talk to us, please, if you could, about the difference in rebounding tonight? Because obviously there was a major disparity in the first game, but you guys really narrowed the gap tonight and let up only 9 offensive rebounds. So as someone who's been throwing her body in the paint a little bit, showing some great fearlessness in there, what was the difference from a player perspective tonight?
100%. That's something that we talked about after our first game. Obviously we won, but they killed us on the boards, and that's something that we need to take pride in. And obviously we're going to be playing smaller the majority of the year. And so that's definitely going to be one of our focal points. And so, like I said, we took that to heart, that they got so many of their points last game from strictly offensive rebounds. If they wouldn't have had those offensive rebounds, the score might have looked a little bit differently. And so we really, really took that to heart, where we're doing one and done. So like you said, they only had 9 offensive rebounds. And I think up until a point, they only had 4 at some point. And so that's just really a testament to wanting to get the stop, wanting to kill the possession, wanting to kind of look out for one another and help each other on the boards, because we do know that Kylie and Rashonda have somebody like Tiara McCowan that they're guarding. And so I think we just all, as a team, took that to heart, wanted to make that better. And obviously we saw that helped out in this game as well.
Appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pepper Pursley.
Hi, Michaela. It's great to see you. Congrats on the win. So Benija Laney led the team in scoring again today. Can you just talk about the impact of her?
Yeah, Benija's a bucket. That's simply put. She's a bucket. And I remember the first game, I don't even know, she did a pull-up, and I was like, she is so good. Nobody can guard Benija. She's just so versatile, and her pull-up is just is just always on. And even if when it's not, she finds other ways to get to the basket, facilitate. And so like, sometimes I just like the first game, I was just like kind of watching her in awe. Like I should have been rebounding, but like I was just like watching her because I knew it was going in. And so just to have a player like that, along with, you know, other players on the team, it's just so cool. And she's definitely a vet that I can look to ask questions and, you know, tell me where I need to be, or if I do this, like, what should I do here kind of thing. And so I'm grateful she's on our side. She's a bucket, she's hard to guard, and she's just all around just a great teammate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michaela. Next up, we have Benija.
Thank you.
Alex Strom.
Hi, Benija. It's nice to meet you. So after last game, when coach was talking about the team's struggles rebounding, one thing he said specifically was that the forwards and the guards really had to help out the bigs down there. And today, you guys had a much better rebounding performance. Do you feel like the forward group really improved there?
Yeah, definitely. I think, we know that Tiara is a really great offensive rebounder. So even if we're not getting it, as long as we're getting into it and not allowing her to get it, helping out that way, or whether if it's us grabbing it, it just has to be a team effort. And I think we really took that into account tonight. And that's why they weren't able to get as many offensive rebounds as they did the last game.
And I wanted to ask you about something Coach just told us, was Sammy Whitcomb and how she was just a WNBA champion. And he was talking about how that helps her deliver a good message to the team as a leader, as a veteran presence. You kind of being a veteran yourself, how does that dynamic help the team?
Me being a veteran, or are you speaking about Sammy?
Sammy mostly.
Oh, Sammy. Okay. Yes. She's the only one of us in there who has come off of a championship, or has that title. So for her to bring that experience for us, being a veteran and just knowing what it looks like, that she pours that into us. So we just kind of feed off of that. We all talk, and we really come together when we say things and try and allow that to translate onto the court.
Thank you. Congrats on the win tonight.
Thank you.
Zach Ward.
Hi, Benija. Just want to ask you about Jasmine Jones. She had a shot to put you up 7 early in the third and then put you up 10 early in the fourth. What can you say about her clutch threes tonight?
It was great, just her energy coming off the bench and just staying ready. She was that spark that we needed, as well as Dee. So, just them coming in and being ready, they were, she got a steal and a layup. So, they're great.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah Valenzuela.
Hey, Benija, congratulations.
Thank you.
You told us on Friday that you wanted to go into the season as someone who is unguardable because of that competitive fire that you have. What was going through your head during that 10 or so minute stretch between the second and the third quarters where you guys were kind of just on that cold streak?
Just sticking with it, not allowing us to get crazy. We're not going to have the, same shooting nights every night. So just for us to, stick with it and keep fighting, try and get better shots, maybe that's getting a little bit closer. But, we'll go back and look at the film and kind of see where we fell short and why we had that stretch that we did. And we're trying to adjust for the next game.
If I could just add one more follow-up question. Michaela just told us that she looks up to you as a mentor and that you're basically a bucket. So I was just wondering what kind of impact do you think you're having on the rest of your teammates, just with not just your defensive performance, with your offensive performance so far in these first 2 games?
Really, I feed off of them as well. I try and just come out and play hard and get into my shots, get out there and do everything that I work on and practice. But, they find me, they encourage me. So, it goes both ways.
Thank you.
Jackie Powell.
Hey, Benija, good to see you and congratulations on the win. So, this was a very gritty game, much grittier than what we saw on Friday. What I want to know from you is As a teammate, how do you make sure that Sabrina doesn't get down on herself after maybe allowing all of those turnovers?
Just continuing to talk to her, it happens. We all have those days, but just to try and minimize that as much as we can. And when it does happen, don't allow her to hang her head. It's okay. We're human and we make mistakes, but just continuing to encourage her, talk to her so that she's not getting down and it's not, a domino effect. So I think we do a really good job of that, just talking and not allowing people to hang their head and not hanging our heads, when things happen, just, staying together and being encouraging.
And to follow up, I wanted to ask you about Rebecca Allen, who sort of just flew into the system. She didn't have much practice with you all, but, amid everything, how do you think she was able to help you guys out tonight?
Knocking down the shot that she did, as well as, just her defensive presence, like you said, she hasn't had time with us really, even yesterday, with the short turnaround, it wasn't a real practice. So for her to, come in off the plane and have the impact that she did, once she gets, her legs under her and everything and gets, comfortable in the system, like she'll be really great for us.
Thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jeff Magliochetti.
Benaja, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on another win. And those 2 wins have come to the tune of you leading the team in scoring each time, averaging 25 over these first 2 games. So my question to you is, how important was it to prove, not to outsiders, but to yourself, that so far in the early going that the run you went on last year en route to MIP was not a fluke?
I didn't think of it as a fluke. If people think that's their business, like I said, I just wanted to continue to get better. And that's what I'm doing. I take my craft seriously and, I'm continuing to build off of last year.
And, kind of wanted to bounce off Jackie a little bit. When you get back out in the system, she has several similarities to you in that she's a tenacious defender and she's a fearless shooter. So how excited are you to work with a player like that on a more long-term basis?
I'm really excited. It's great to have, like players on the court because we can do a lot of different things, mix things up. So I'm excited, to have her as a part of the team now, for her to get back and, get comfortable and feel like herself after, not playing with us and, coming in off of the flights and everything.
Appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Last question, Pepper Pursley.
Hi, Benijah. Congrats on the great game and the win. So you've had 50 points combined in these past 2 games. So it seems like you're fitting in pretty well. Can you just talk about how you've been fitting into this offense?
It's a pretty free and open offense, which I think works well for me. It's a lot similar to the offense that I excelled at last year. And like I mentioned earlier, my teammates, they encourage me and they find me and allow me to, get to my shots and everything.
Thank you.
Benijah. Next up, we have Sabrina Ionescu. We are just waiting for her to come out of the locker room, so give us a couple of minutes or seconds.
Hey, Sabrina, just talk about the defensive effort tonight. I mean, the offense looked great in the first quarter, then it kind of struggled a little bit, but just the defense all game was really consistent and obviously helped you guys get that win today.
Yeah, that's really what our identity is going to be. Is, sometimes the ball is going to go in, sometimes it's not. But at the end of the day, we have to get down the court, buckle up, play defense, get stops and rebound. And I think we did a great job of that tonight.
Thanks.
Karina Mustafa.
Hi, Sabrina Karina from Venus Sports and That's Republic. So I want to talk about those times where it looks like you're going to pull up and shoot the three, but instead you make that extra pass to whoever's inside, whether it's Benija or Didi. How important is that awareness to your game and finding that extra space?
It's huge. I think obviously with new players joining and us just getting our team together, I think it's just learning about each other and how we like playing and what works for us. And so I obviously need to do a better job, not overpassing and actually taking those shots, as well as making the open pass and reading the cuts, reading our passes. So I think it's really just getting to know each other a little bit more and know what our strengths and weaknesses are and continue to grow on that.
Thank you. Congrats on the win.
Sarah Valenzuela.
Hey Sabrina, congratulations on win number 2. Just tell me a little bit about what was going through your head when those turnovers were happening. Coach said that you were just having a little bit of trouble. So was there like an issue of you being focused, or is it more of a credit to Indiana's team?
It's never a focus issue. I flew in this morning from driving back all night from the Hall of Fame. So, I obviously no excuse, but I will say my head was, a little bit out of it with what was going on and what I was attending and with everything going on. So I obviously have to clean that up. But at the end of the day, we got to win. That's all that matters.
Thank you.
Jackie Powell.
Hey, Sabrina, congratulations on the win. I want to ask you, as a team that took so long to get a first win last season, what type of message does this start going 2-0 say to the other teams in the league?
It's huge. 2 wins is all that, this team had last year, and we started off this season with 2 wins. And so I think it speaks, volume about how much we've grown from last season and how much better we can get. Obviously it's the first 2 games. This season's a long season. So I'm just excited to see how we continue to progress every game. And, we got a lot better from the last game to this game. So I'm excited to see the next game. And as we just continue to get better in practice and, getting familiar with one another.
And to follow up, beyond the box score, who was someone who you thought really stepped up today and why?
I think Jazz and Didi came off the bench and gave us a huge spark defensively with their energy, with their, attacking the guards and getting into the paint, getting some easy baskets and kind of getting us going a little bit. They played great off the bench. And they continue to do that all the time. They do it in practice. They do it in games. And their ability to stay ready is awesome to be able to see and from people to learn from. But it's really what makes them stick and play on the court.
Thanks so much, Sabrina. Congratulations. Hope you get some sleep.
Thanks.
Jeff Magliochetti.
Sabrina, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on another win. What can you say about the way that Danielle Robinson was guarding you today? I think they had her on you for most of the game today. What did you think of the way she played you?
She played me the exact same as she did last game. They iced the ball screens, go under. They didn't change anything defensively. I didn't think they would. I know from watching a couple of their scouts, that's just, how they play the pick and roll defense. And so, they were making me take tough shots. They were making me take shots, and I needed to be ready to hit those.
Not only do you guys start off 2-0 overall, you start 2-0 in terms of playing for the Commissioner's Cup. As someone who has a little bit of experience in, in-season tournaments at the college level and somewhat recently, what do you think of this initiative, and how great would it be to, kind of represent the Eastern Conference a little bit if all were to go well in this endeavor?
Yeah, I honestly don't know anything about this Commissioner's Cup, if you want me to be honest. I have no idea what it is. I know that there's some tournament, but are we in it now? I literally have no idea. I just take it one game at a time, try and win every single game, try and win every single possession. And if we win this Commissioner's Cup, I guess that's pretty cool.
Seems to be working so far. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Pepper Kersley.
Hey Sabrina, it's great to talk with you. So in these first 2 games, only being in your second year, it seems like you've really been leading this team. Can you just talk about your leadership?
Yeah, I think already having 2.5 games under my belt from last season, I think that was what I needed. Being able to play against some top teams while I had the opportunity to last year, I think that kind of gave me some confidence coming into this season and just understanding that my role on this team, what we're trying to accomplish, what I can do to help others, and kind of all of us can build together. And so I'm definitely not taking for granted those 2.5 games that I played last year, but obviously still trying to learn. I've never played against these teams. A lot of these teams in the league, I've never played against a lot of these players. So every single night it's something new for me as well. So that element of kind of being a rookie is still there for me because I haven't had the experience of playing a lot of these teams. But I think just learning every single day, using my basketball IQ and the knowledge that I have for the game, and also learning from a lot of these other players that have played in the league for a while, and they're teaching me as well.
Thank you. And congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Erica Ayala.
Thank you. Hey, Sabrina, you alluded to it today, and last time you spoke to us on Friday that you'd be headed up to the festivities for the Naismith Hall of Fame. Having experienced that, obviously not under the circumstances that anyone wanted to see Kobe Bryant, especially going into the hall under. I'm just curious what your biggest takeaways were from being able to be there and be a part of that.
Yeah, I think it's just inspirational to hear everyone's story, from the coaches who went up and talked to former players. I think just hearing everyone's story and where everyone came from and kind of the ups and downs of their careers, and having people around them that believed in them, and kind of, finishing off at the end of their careers and now being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and just kind of talking about the impact a lot of these people had around them. And so I think for me, just being able to be there, listening, watching everything around me, it's just eye-opening to see that it's a lot, more than basketball. It's about the relationship that you build around. It's about, your family, the people that are there supporting you every step of the way. It's not, I don't think anyone talked about necessarily the wins and losses. It was a lot more than that. And so that was really awesome to see, and just eye-opening because, I'm here now playing, and I want to stay in the present and just be very appreciative of everything that I have.
Last question, Miles Ehrlich.
Hey, Sabrina, great game tonight. After grabbing 19 in the first go-around, Indiana went into the second quarter before grabbing their first offensive rebound. Rebecca Allen and Sammy Whitcomb especially seemed to be really active in crashing the glass. And how impressed were you by that? And was there talk among the guards before the game about trying to help out your post players who had to battle the game, most of the game against Tierra McCowan and Jontel Lavender?
Yeah, there was a huge emphasis on us guards rebounding. Obviously, we, our post players had their hands full with great post players from the Indiana team. And so we knew that we had to crack down and try and get some of the loose ones. And, I think our guards are really good rebounders, and we have to continue to bring that every single night, especially when our posts have, great matchups on the offensive rebound. So I think that was a huge key to us winning this game, not allowing them to have nearly as many offensive rebounds as they did the previous night, and we just have to continue to do that moving forward.
Great, thank you, Sabrina, and thank you all for joining. Saying the
Yeah,
recording.